Lamar has had a very, very good year. But the Ravens all season long have been up and down. And when your team is not playing at the top of their game, the quarterback's going to be looked at. And it's not because Lamar Jackson's not having a good season. It's just they're not winning. And the defense is not as good as it's been over the years. But Lamar Jackson has stood out more than anybody could really imagine. And the reason why is when he came into the league, he was a running quarterback. He was a dual threat. What Lamar has done as a player, some people are comparing him to Michael Vick. And Michael Vick, who is lefty, and by the way, congratulations to Michael Vick taking that Norfolk job. Very well deserved. I think Michael Vick's going to do very, very well as a head coach, coaching college football players. But I think when you look at Lamar Jackson, what he's done this year, it has been incredible. And there is thought about what Lamar Jackson has done, and it's comparable to like a Michael Vick or a Randall Cunningham of one of these multi-facet quarterbacks that we've seen over the years. But Lamar Jackson is also playing in a division where you can go back and forth. Are they the better team? Pittsburgh's been the better team all season long. Russell Wilson's had a very good year coming back the way he did, coming from the Broncos, really just falling flat on his face last year. And the Broncos just absolutely giving up on him, drafting Bo Nix. He goes over there. He doesn't even start this season because of injury. Justin Fields was 4-1 before he took over that job. And then Russell Wilson has been sensational all season long. Now, he's not Lamar Jackson-esque. He's not Josh Allen. When you look at Josh Allen going into the season, he lost his 2-star wide receivers. He lost Stephon Diggs to a trade going to the Texans. He lost, obviously, Gabe Davis going to Jacksonville. He's lost everybody. And he's now has, I would say, secondary wide receivers. They drafted a wide receiver in the draft from Florida State and Coleman, who's had a very good year. He's been good, but he's not an elite wide receiver, not yet. And then,
do you think Errol too, in the aspect of why they're talking about Lamar, is he's kind of changed his game of what we thought it was originally? Like, he's a running quarterback, and now he's spreading it across the field, and now he's having that like Josh Allen type of esque, you know what I'm saying? Now, but obviously it's different. Like, obviously Josh Allen doesn't have Lamar's speed.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a throwing quarterback, and now Lamar is kind of spreading it across. Is that why? I mean, he's still not favored. I mean, he's plus 500 on DraftKings to win. So do you think like him just trying to not be a true running quarterback and getting that is making the conversation even more?
I think so, obviously. Lamar Jackson over the last 2 years has been a better passer than we ever thought he was going to be. And last year he proved it. That was his second MVP. But the thing about Lamar Jackson, going back to Josh Allen, when you look at both guys are mobile quarterbacks. As a matter of fact, Josh Allen doesn't get enough credit of his mobility and what he can do on the field. He's a big man. He's 6'5". He's more of a fullback, but he has a tremendous amount of speed for a guy his size. He's bulky, and he has a great arm. Probably, some people say, the best arm in football. You can argue him, Patrick Mahomes, and probably maybe 2 or 3 other quarterbacks. You can argue around those guys. But I do believe that what Lamar Jackson has done has been incredible and really stood out. Remember, Lamar Jackson, in that draft, Baker Mayfield was drafted in front of him. Sam Darnold was drafted in front of him. Josh Rosen was drafted in front of him.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, I mean,
I forgot about him.
There were like 4 quarterbacks drafted in front of him. There were 5 quarterbacks drafted in that draft. And if you look at Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, that was a fantastic draft. Baker Mayfield's developed as he has over there with the Buccaneers. I mean, why is anybody talking about what Baker Mayfield's done all season long with all the injuries that they've had? The Buccaneers. Now, he's not Josh Allen this year, and he's not obviously Lamar Jackson, but Baker's done a sensational job as a quarterback over there with the Buccaneers with the injuries that they had. But I think when you're going back and forth and you're arguing who's better, it's one person's thought to another. You can't really judge one or the other. The fact is, if you look at what Josh Allen did this past week, it didn't look good, okay? He didn't have a great game. But Lamar Jackson, all season long, he's had duds too. He hasn't played well in some games too. So if you look at both quarterbacks and you're comparing and you're contrasting one or the other, they're probably going to give it to Josh Allen because Josh Allen's never won an MVP. If it's close, they're going to give it to Josh Allen. And remember, if you're going to ask me who's been the most consistent one out of both of them, it's Josh Allen, because Josh Allen all season long has put his team on his back. The defense really started to get better in the second half of the season. This was, again, a defense that's been very, very good all season long, but they're really getting back to that smash mouth defense now that they're getting healthy. They weren't really at that position early in the season. Remember, they lost their whole secondary at the end of the season last year. They all went to free agency. They lost White. They lost all their safeties. Now they have a bunch of young guys on the edges. They have a bunch of young guys in the middle of the field, and they're still one of those dominant defenses. It's been very, very fun to watch both quarterbacks develop the way they have, and they were both drafted in the same year. So they're going to be connected for the rest of their careers.